Cedar Shore Walleye Fishing Tournament. It is Friday night, TGF. It's Friday.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you're off of work. You're playing, having fun.
It's been a long week. I was in Deadwood this week.
You were?
Yeah, I was in Deadwood Tuesday through Thursday.
I did not know that.
I've covered all of South Dakota's hidden gems. I've been Missouri River, I've been Black Hills, and now I'm back on the Missouri River.
No kidding. So you're playing all over. Well, and now you're here on Lake Francis Case for the big Cedar Shore Walleye Tournament. Nick Harrington's with us. Of course, you know this lake. You know Sharp. Do you know Sharp a little better than you know Francis Case?
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah. So how's Francis Case fishing?
I would say right now that Sharp and Francis Case are probably pretty similar in terms of where we are, like in terms of the spawning conditions. But I think that's going to be the biggest factor for this tournament. I called Kurt last week and I told him I think the spawn's going to happen in the middle of this tournament, and I stand by that. I stand by that, if I'm being honest. At
this point, you know what? I'm going to agree with you. The more I'm hearing about the water temperature and everything that's going on, I thought we were going to be on the other end. I would say at least 70% sure that spawn is 70% done.
Yeah.
And, we're going to get a bunch of skinny males, and we might have a decent bag tomorrow.
So my guess is, I'm going to say it out there, I'm going to say we got 28 pounds wins it. Which I know is less than some of the other guesses, but I'm thinking 28 pounds wins it, 14-pound average a day. Okay. But I think the big bag is probably going to be 17 or 18 pounds, and I'm putting my big fish at 5.8.
Okay, well, you know what? That's actually pretty decent.
That's my guess.
We've got plenty of females out there that were caught today that still had eggs.
Yep. So
we're still dealing with some bigger walleye, which is a great thing. But we've got the temperature change, water's warming up. Things are. I heard we got a little lockjaw out there too right now.
It kind of looked like a junior high prom, is how I described it. They were running around, but they weren't eating, which tells me one thing: if you're not eating.
Well, and that's the tough thing too. For those that don't understand the spawn, those females work hard to lay those eggs, and when they're done, they're out, and they're on a 10-day, maybe 2-week hiatus, right?
It's an incredibly demanding, energetic feat of nature, essentially, is what it is. I mean, and that's why I hear people say, oh, my males are milking, and blah. I don't care what the males are doing. It
doesn't matter.
I said sperm is cheap on your podcast.
Yes, you did. Yeah, and you said it again.
I stand by it.
Yeah, right.
But then again, those females, like Mark talked about, that's an incredible energetic demand. When they are focused on one thing, and then they do have to take 5 to 10 days, 2 weeks to recuperate. So
yeah, and that's the sad thing. You're doing a tournament in the middle of the spawn, and things turn on, and then we get that big 50-mile-an-hour wind maybe on Sunday. That's going to be detrimental too to fishing.
Well, so here's the other thing. The flip side of that coin, though, is when you have a big reservoir like Francis Case here. I'm not going to say what the water temperatures are. They're kind of on the low end of what you would expect to see for spawning, just starting to creep into that window. That's why I stand by my claim. But it's a big reservoir, and things change. Like fish spawn in waves as a whole as it is, but the reservoir goes through different changes. What's happening at the dam is opposite of what's happening at the White, which is opposite of what's happening at Flats. So for the next month here on Case, anglers are going to see fish in all stages of spawning for the next at least 2 or 3 weeks, if not a month, if you factor in post spawn.
Yeah, right, exactly. And this, so the good thing about this lake, and I guess I don't care where you're at on the Missouri for the most part. Maybe Lewis and Clark's a little different. You can find a place to hide in the big wind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. And we had big winds last year. I mean, I think it's just part of the strategy here. This tournament always has something mechanical. There's always, everyone goes through something mechanical because it's the first one of the year for most of us, and we always deal with weather. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll take 62 and windy way more than what we had last year when it was hailing on us.
Yeah, tough. Well, at least it's not going to be 75 and dead calm tomorrow, because that would not be conducive either.
Well, I'll tell you what would happen if it was 75 and dead calm. It wouldn't be conducive for us, but those fish would be having themselves quite a 36-hour period.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, they would. It's going to be interesting. You got this tournament now, and now we talk about a tournament 2 weeks later up on Lake Sharp with the Sharp Showdown. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Sharp Showdown.
Yeah, no, that's probably my favorite because that's my home water. Just because it's tough to beat where I live in Fort Pierre. It's literally about a half mile to the boat ramp at Fort Pierre. It's about 10 minutes to Downs, and if I really want to take a long drive, it's about 17 minutes to Farm Island. So, yeah, I'm excited for that one. But first things first, you gotta focus on the team ahead of you, the game ahead of you, right?
That's right.
This isn't March Madness anymore. This is April walleye fishing.
Well, you got a new team member, so it's not you and Mason this year. Now it's you and Tom.
And I am in a boat that goes really fast, a lot faster than the tiller. Let me tell you, I never gone 75 before. And
yeah, right.
It's a different life for me right now.
The Yarcraft's a rocket.
Well, right? I think anything with a 400 mercury on it's going to be a rocket.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Obviously, you're picking up tips and tricks, and you guys are both learning something from each other because you're bringing great stuff. What a great team! I was really excited to hear you guys were partners.
It's going to be interesting because him and I are like almost solar opposites on some things, but we've pieced that together and both worked out pretty well today. So we're pretty excited about that. We're going for best of both worlds.
Well, here's the thing. I get you. You're secretive. Tom tells me secrets, so you know what? You balance out great. It's going to be fun. Good luck to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good luck, Team 23.